You long believed to be true but realized wasn't?
Well, as one of the main opponents of the Illuminati, I always wanted to know what information they had that we didn't.
Now we finally have an update on the drowning death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Now, according to ABC7, they stated that Malcolm-Jamal Warner had drowned while he was on vacation in Costa Rica. Now, the article goes on to say that Warner had drowned off the coast of Costa Rica on Sundays.
Life, it's fragile, and in the blink of an eye,
you never know.
You never know. So speaking of legacy, what do you hope that your legacy is going to be?
There is part of me that I will be able to leave this earth, knowing and people knowing that I was a good person.
So Katt Williams has been shouting it from the rooftops for years. If you don't play by Hollywood's twisted rules, especially as a black man, they'll toss you aside like yesterday's news.
Because I spent, so much of the early part of my life listening to, being celebrated on one hand, but paying way too much attention to the naysay.
And when you look at what happened to the late Malcolm-Jamal Warner, it all starts to line up real quick. Malcolm wasn't out here chasing fame. He wasn't trying to wear a dress or play the fool just to get a check. He straight up rejected roles that made black men look wild or weak.
These are the first things we saw when we pulled up to the beach. Signs in Spanish and English warning people about potentially hazardous conditions. This sign even giving a roadmap for how to escape a rip current.
And guess what? They blacklisted him for it. Not because he wasn't talented, the man had skills, but because he wouldn't play the industry's little game.
Rican Beach, where officials say a dangerous rip current swept away Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the Cosby Show star, drowning in secluded paradise on Sunday. What makes that beach so treacherous?
It's similar to other beaches where there are strong rip currents that are deceiving.
Mike Geist helps run a volunteer lifeguard organization here. He says while no lifeguards were on duty that day, Geist's friend, who happens to be a trained lifeguard, was there to surf and discovered Warner unresponsive in the water. Costa Rica's Red Cross says they were able to rescue another man alive who was taken to a clinic in critical condition.
Rica, Jesse, officials say Warner's autopsy is now complete.
It was completed this morning, according to authorities, Tom, and they say that it confirmed that Warner's drowning death was, in fact, an accident.
And now that he's gone, all of a sudden, the media can't stop calling him a legend, like they just discovered his greatness. Celebs out here posting tributes, acting like they always had his back. But where was all this love when he was grinding in silence? Where was the praise when he was choosing dignity over dollar signs? This ain't just about clout-chasing theories. This is a pattern, a system. And Katt Williams has been calling it out for years. He warned everyone how Hollywood treats the ones who say, nah, I'm good on the bull.
The ones who say, nah, I'm good to the bull.
So even before conception, we were very clear we were having a girl. And I knew that I needed a girl first to kind of ease me into it, because I have a pretty good idea of what kind of father I would be. So I needed a girl to kind of, slow me down and soften me up, if you will. So for me, raising my daughter, I came into fatherhood already with a certain maturity and certain understanding of male-female dynamics. And with a girl, all of that starts with the father. So I've always, since I literally pulled her out of my wife.
So let's get into it. Just what was Katt really exposing? What did Malcolm actually stand for? Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the face we all knew as Theo Huxtable from The Cosby Show, passed away suddenly on July 20th, 2025. And the whole world is still in shock.
Some of us make choices. I think it's not a biggest choice for others. I'm saying at the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next. Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote.
We all love Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us.
He was on a peaceful family vacation in Limon, Costa Rica, swimming with his 8-year-old daughter, when everything took a tragic turn. They got swept up in a brutal rip current, the kind that beach is notoriously known for. No lifeguards were on duty that day. Why? Because resources had been moved to other beaches after a string of recent accidents. And this one should have never happened.
There has never been a person that has been parodied 9 times on Saturday Night Live and yet never been invited other than me. I, at this point, take it as a badge of honor that they don't fuck with me. A lot of times when people are doing an impression of you, they're really showing you how they feel about you. You know what I mean? So for Saturday Night Live to have an impression of me and have a woman do that means they think I'm a bitch. And I understand that that's what they're saying when they do that. I understand how the game goes, and I understand that if you love me, I know why you do. And if you don't with me, I understand why.
2 local surfers saw them struggling. One raced to save the daughter and managed to pull her to safety. The other paddled out to help Malcolm, but by the time emergency teams arrived, it was too late. He was unresponsive, and they couldn't bring him back. Malcolm died from asphyxia due to drowning. The brave surfer who tried to save him was rushed to a nearby hospital in critical condition.
The title is combating the narrative of Black life, Black culture that the media focuses on. And
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The Black community is not a monolith.
The autopsy confirmed it was a tragic accident, but that doesn't make the pain any easier. What hit fans the hardest wasn't just how he died, it was who he was. Malcolm was one of those rare child stars who never lost his way. He didn't sell out, didn't get caught up in scandals. He built his legacy with grace. We're talking Emmy-nominated actor, Grammy-winning musician, director, poet, and social activist. A true artist and a real man.
There should be a moratorium on both of those words in hip-hop because it's low-lying fruit, it's so easy, everybody fucking does it, to the point that it's corny. Like there are MCs who I love, who I cannot listen to anymore because I love J. Cole. But I had to stop listening to J. Cole because I got tired of hearing nigga and bitch
As much
every 2 sentences, because he's proven himself to be such a incredible lyricist.
that you think it's just too low-hanging fruit for him to use those words.
I feel like
He was happily married, never divorced, and a dedicated father with no outside mess. Malcolm was respected by everybody who worked with him. No drama, no ego, just straight up class. He showed what it looks like when a real man moves with confidence, integrity, and purpose.
Drake beat, which, they talk about how much they hate each other and give all these references to violence and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think, even though we enjoy those songs and they're bops, do you think that has a detrimental impact upon the culture ultimately?
Ultimately, yes. It's been normalized for, us to call ourselves the N-word, right? And we like to talk about how we've taken the power of that word back. But I'm of the school of thought. If I'm trying to speak love and upliftment to my brother, why am I going to borrow a word from people who use the word because they hate me? But we get caught up in, we're turning the N-word into a positive. But our music is not reflecting positivity, love, and upliftment of our culture. And we're at a point now where so much of our, especially our music, so much of our Black music, when you strip away the music and just listen to the lyrics, so much of our Black music is really anti-Black.
Oh, you think so?
When you think about it, think of, you almost cannot have hip hop without talking about drugs, using the N-word, and murking somebody.
Right.
You know, or calling a female, you know, a bitch or a hoe. Like that's become we've normalized that so much that I think we need a space where we can say, wait a minute, that's not all who we are.
But then, out of nowhere, he's gone. A freak accident takes his life at 54. After decades of clean living, no health scares, no scandals, the man was literally living his best life in paradise with his family. The only tragedy in Malcolm's story is that it ended too soon, because truth be told, he won at life. He showed us all how to move with grace and self-respect in a world that rewards the opposite.
Care how people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work. Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
It's a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully.
But now, we got to talk about how Hollywood did him dirty while he was still breathing. Let's be real. Malcolm didn't fade out. They pushed him out. He didn't fall off. He just refused to sell out. After The Cosby Show, he could have chased the glitzy roles, corny sitcoms, or goofy movie scripts, but he wasn't with it. He kept it low-key and solid. He said no to roles that made black men look like jokes. No dresses, no buffoonery, no shucking and jiving just to get a paycheck. He wanted to uplift, not entertain, at the cost of dignity. And this is exactly what Katt Williams has been talking about for years. On stage, in interviews, on podcasts. Katt's been calling out how Hollywood puts black entertainers in a box. If you don't play your assigned character, you get labeled difficult, unstable, washed. Katt said no to the same trash. No wigs, no clown suits, no over-the-top stereotypes. And what did they do? Tried to paint him as crazy. Now here's the real truth about Malcolm. He was sharp, disciplined, and overflowing with talent. But because he didn't fit Hollywood's formula and refused to perform for the system, they left him on the sidelines like he didn't matter. But guess what? Malcolm wasn't begging for their attention. He was thriving without them. He launched his own podcast called Not All Hood, where he regularly tore into how mainstream media tries to box black folks into one flat image. He wasn't here for the lies, the lazy tropes, or the watered-down stories. Instead of giving in to their cookie-cutter roles, Malcolm stayed true to himself. He took on projects with real impact. Theater productions, documentaries, and indie films that spotlighted Black history, education, and the fight against systemic racism. This wasn't a man chasing clout. This was a man using art to teach and uplift. In 2021, he dropped a bold op-ed for the Televisi on Academy, and he did not hold back. Malcolm exposed how white executives, white producers, and white directors are still the gatekeepers controlling how black people are shown on TV. He wrote, during the cycles where the gate hinges loosen lightly and black creatives are given some input and illusion of control, the stereotypes often continue, even if the characters wear suits or live in mansions. That part. And he didn't just stop at TV. He called out the rap game too. Malcolm openly criticized the toxic masculinity and misogyny in modern hip-hop, pushing for real healing and accountability in the culture. Even when that Kendrick versus Drake beef lit the internet on fire last year, Malcolm stood firm. He spoke out saying, hip-hop only gets mainstream love when it's pushing negativity.